Tonight we're playing a game called Whose Body Did Annie Steal? Plus, Brio is making a comeback. We're talking about that right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, are you ready for... Oh, hey guys, how's it going? You might notice that it's a little bit empty tonight because our beautiful Juliet is not here. But she says that she misses us and she is excited about Brio. So I know she always loves to talk about Brio, and she will be talking with us next week, all of her thoughts. In the meantime, thanks everybody for being in the chat. Keep letting me know what your comments are, and let's jump into the show. We've got 2 episodes to talk about tonight. We're talking about episode 10 and episode 11. This land is your land and hunting season. So we've got a lot of ground to cover here, and I'm excited to jump right into it. Before I get started, my overall thoughts are that I think we're going to see a big shift in a lot of relationships, including Brio. We're seeing a shift with Beth and Rio. I think something's going to happen, and I'm super excited about it. And I think we're also seeing a shift from the girls taking power again over the FBI and Agent Turner. So I think we're going to see a lot of different power plays being made over the next couple of episodes, because we are coming to an end very shortly, which I'm really sad about, but we still have a few more episodes in the meantime to talk about, which is great. So with that being said, let's jump in to episode 10, This Land is Your Land. First of all, the biggest thing that happened in this is Annie had the great idea to take the reins of the trio, and she has the idea to talk with Rio and to continue moving money and getting the pills. And so they go on an adventure to Canada, where they, involve Sarah and the Girl Scouts to get across the border so that they can get the pills. I thought this was clever. There wasn't any huge mishap because Annie really, every time she has an idea, there's a huge mishap that happens. And we didn't see anything big happen for this because Ruby ended up interfering and stopping it, because otherwise everything was about to go down. The FBI came in for Beth, and so thankfully Ruby stopped it before it could get started. What I didn't love about this is that they're involving Sarah. And I think that I feel like they need to take a step away from the kids. I think that, business should stay with business, and your home life can be a little bit separated. When it's mashing together, then I feel like that is a little too far. I mean, it was cute to see the girls on the field trip, and I like Sarah, of course. But I just think that they should keep the kids away from it, especially Sarah, because she also is really having a hard time with her parents. And if we see, Ruby is the only one that she trusts right now, and if we see Ruby get locked up, then who is she going to have? That's my question. So I think that the kids should definitely stay out of this. Let me know what you're thinking in the chat. I also want to roll over to Noah and that relationship between Annie and Noah. Here's the thing. I've always been on Team Noah's side from the beginning, and then it shifted a little bit when I found out that he was really slimy and sleazy. But now he is telling Annie to get involved so that he can catch her. And that is just so awful. It just sends shivers up my spine. And I just want him to be gone. I'm done with him. I am off of the Noah train. I'm moving on. Ship has sailed. Get him out of here. I'm really excited about what's happening in episode 11, but we'll get to that soon. Let me know whose team you're on, if you are still liking Noah at all, or if you've kind of moved on from that as well. But I just think that he's bad news, and unless they can turn it around on Noah, then he just doesn't have a purpose, and I think he should get out of here, especially because he's really sleazy. And the other point that I'd like to make is I don't like that he's getting so close to Sadie. I think that Sadie is really growing attached to Noah because he's a nice guy. But this is also not good. So I feel like the kids are really being affected in this episode a lot. We've got Sarah, we've got Sadie. I mean, these poor innocent kids. Can we give them a break? They're not going to have a chance. They need to have a chance to grow up and be good kids. They will. It's fine. Okay, the next point that we see in episode 10 is the FBI raid. This is huge. Turner comes in with the whole firing squad, with his team, with the FBI SWAT team, you could say, and raids the dealership. And Beth, thank goodness, she got a tip from Rio, got ahead of Turner, got all of the books, and got rid of all the evidence except for one piece of paper, which we see coming back in episode 11. But this is extreme. I mean, Agent Turner has been on her case. It's coming to an end. We see it just escalating each time. Beth is barely slipping away from this one, and I'm glad that she made it through, and I'm glad that Agent Turner came up empty-handed once again. It's almost getting exhausting because he doesn't find anything, and he's got nothing to prove, and it's just, when is he going to close the case? You know, like, I know that something's got to happen. Hopefully the girls can turn around and outsmart him and kind of come out on top to where he's forced to just close the case and be done with it, or, you know, frame Mary Pat for what she's done, and he can find out that it's actually on her and not really the girls. But I'm so ready for him to just be put down. I'm ready for him to be shut down and off of the case. So that's what I think about episode 10. Let me know what you're thinking. I know you guys are chatting a lot in the chat right now. We have Danielle's out there. Hello, Danielle. Oh my gosh, I would revolt if Ruby got locked up. Same. What would Sarah do if Ruby and her dad are in jail? She can live with her grandparents, but I mean, they've got 2 kids, Sarah and a brother. I can't remember his name. We also have Vic in the chat. I love that even though he was hurt, he still went out of his way to warn her, talking about Rio. Yes, I think that we're seeing a buildup of the Brio relationship. So Rio is he's still in love with Beth, let's be honest. And when you're in love with somebody, obviously you're going to tell them and warn them. And I think that's where we see Rio having this like tender heart in a way. He's like such a tough guy, but I think we all kind of are in love with this Brio idea because he is a bad guy but has a tender heart. And that's why, you know, Brio's gonna make a comeback in the next couple episodes. Sarah, hey, what's up, Sarah in the chat? Rio respects Beth and cares for her as a business partner, even if she did hurt him. So, yes, we're talking about Brio. Storm Within, hello, Storm Within. Noah is going to use Sadie as a weapon in order to manipulate Annie. I couldn't agree more. He literally comes out and says that in the next episode, that even though Annie might be breaking up with him, he has Sadie. So he's going to be using Sadie. So the kids are getting brought into this. We're seeing more from the kids. And that is when things are just getting crazy. So we'll see how this develops in the last few episodes. All right, so episode 10, really great episode. We build on that relationship. Let's jump into episode 11, hunting season. All right, we have the episode starts. We have Annie, Ruby, and Beth. They have to pay off their debt to Rio. So Rio has the body, and Oh my gosh, he just kept sending Beth body parts. And if her not putting each little body part into the garbage disposal didn't make you gag, then you just don't have emotions. It was so appalling. I literally like sat there and was like, oh, I can smell it, even though it's through a TV. But that was so gross. And we didn't even see all the different body parts, but her describing it and just the first thumb, I thought it was a toe. Maybe it's a thumb. Let me know what you think. But it was just disgusting. So he just keeps sending her body parts. And Beth has come to the conclusion that she's like, okay, I have to talk to Rio because otherwise I'm going to get, a leg. And you can't fit that in a garbage disposal. There's just no way. If an ear is having trouble, you can't even do that. So the girls have come to this point where they're never going to be able to get out. And honestly, that's the point. Rio says that he is going to make it to where Beth really can't get out. And from my perspective, it's because he still likes Beth. And I think he wants to be with her. And I think everybody's kind of on the same page as far as this goes. But that's what happens. Beth said, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with you. And guys like playing girls who play hard to get. So obviously he's going to like Beth because she's playing hard to get. So there you go. So we see that happen. And this is the way that Rio is going to keep Beth close. I don't think that wants to be out. We saw in episode 10 that she was back to the mom. She was back to making cookies and being in the mom's PTA club and doing all that stuff. And she could not stand it. She had to steal chapstick because that was the most exciting and alive moment that she felt. So she cannot stay away from the life of crime. That is where we're at with Beth. Do you think that Rio wants to keep Beth around forever? Or do you think that he's going to let her go once he finds another girl? I mean, he does have a baby mama and he has a kid. So do you think Beth is really going to be the one? Or do you think he's just going to keep her around until he gets bored of her and then find somebody else? Let me know what you think. While you are doing that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for commenting every single week, for liking the show. You guys have been giving us thumbs up on YouTube. I love it. Be sure to keep giving us stars on iTunes. Be sure to subscribe. We really appreciate it. I super appreciate it. I love to see what your thoughts are on the episode and what you're thinking your predictions are going to be. It's super awesome to get to do that and to kind of shout you out each and every week. So we're going to be doing shout outs at the end, but just wanted to say thank you. And if you're new to the show, be sure to subscribe, be sure to give us a thumbs up, and we'll be sure to shout you out if you leave a comment. So thank you guys. That's how we keep the show going. All right. So you guys are saying that Beth and Rio have caught feelings for each other. Oh my gosh, what a love story. Beth, talking about she only got out because Dean forced her to. That's what Samantha has to say. Vic is saying he's fallen hard for Beth. Rio could have killed her a long time ago or just threatened her. So I think we're all kind of on the same page with the Rio. I think that this is going to be a build up to where we see Rio coming like full on, maybe a relationship in the last episode. Especially since Dean has put up divorce papers. This was a huge thing for episode 11. Dean presents Beth with divorce papers, and I think she's kind of skeptical at first. I think she was also taken aback. I would be taken aback for divorce papers as well because Dean knows so much. Dean and Stan are the only two who know the whole scope of what happened. And Dean, I feel like, knows even more than Stan does because he had a gun pointed to his head by Rio. So he has really been involved with this whole scheme. So him presenting divorce papers, it's kind of a matter of time, but also I was a little shocked. I was a little surprised just because he knows so much and he's kind of involved as well. So I think, you know, maybe their time has come. I think that once they get a divorce, it's kind of been a long time coming. Even though Dean knows what happened and he's been involved in the gang and everything that's gone on, it's not like that's changed their relationship or made either of them like each other more. It's kind of driven them away. So we've kind of seen Dean try and leave before with the kids. That was a rash move, as Dean does. But now he's saying, okay, I'm going to get a divorce. I'm going to do this legally, and maybe they'll split the kids, do like a joint custody. I think that's the only thing that really keeps Beth in it. She's only there because she wants to keep her kids, and we saw how torn up she was when she was in the house all by herself, all alone. So that really crushed her, and that was probably one of her lowest moments in the whole arc of the show. So I don't know what's going to come out with the divorce. I think that it's probably going to be okay, that it's not going to be too crazy, but it'll be, you know, as long as he agrees to do like a joint custody with the kids, I think it'll be pretty civil, you know, between the two of them. And that right there is going to lead way for Brio. And as long as they have more scenes like we saw in this episode where she broke into his house and they played 21 questions, I mean, that was super cute, a little twisted, but super, super cute, then I'm okay with it. They have had so many like awkward moments together, but I feel like that moment was like everything I wanted. I was like, it's calm. They're playing this 21 questions back and forth. It's like getting heated. You're not in a dirty bathroom. You're at his like surprisingly nice bachelor pad. He's very organized. Beth is very organized. It looks like a really nice house. Like, I was like, I would live there, you know, it's really nice. Very clean, very neat, very organized. Beth, I think, is pretty turned on by that. Complete opposite from Dean, who just throws everything all over the place. So that being said, I think that the divorce, if as long as everything's smooth over, it's going to lead way for more Brio, and hopefully like the Brio that we've all been waiting for and that we all kind of want. Not like the awkward Brio, not like the dirty bathroom Brio, but an actual Brio relationship. Hey, if you're excited, let me know. Tell me you're excited. Okay. Danielle's excited. Yes. Vic, his place was just as I pictured, but different colors other than black. She was grabbing his shirts. Oh, yes. When Beth touched those shirts, I was like, she's going to smell them. You know that when you like a guy and you just want to smell his smell, oh, you're just like melting. Oh, my gosh. I love it. Woo. All right. Brio. You know I love talking about that. Next thing that I want to speak about for episode 11 is Annie finally figures out that Noah is the FBI. Oh my gosh, it took her long enough. I was cringing the last couple of episodes when she almost knew that he was FBI, but didn't really say anything. I was like, come on, Annie, you are smarter than that. But this episode, she finally figured it out because she stalked him. And just like any smart woman could do or should do, I'm on board, followed him around, found out that he was talking to Agent Turner, and then she was like crushed. And I totally sympathize with her on this, but I'm glad she finally found out. And she told Beth, and this is going to be good because what is going to happen next, and this is, an early prediction for me, is that they are going to turn this around and they are going to have power over the FBI, over Agent Turner and Noah, because they can manipulate what's going to happen and tip him off in the wrong direction. And, well, I'll save it for my predictions. You guys let me know what you guys are predicting, but I think this is good. It's a hard thing to go through, but I'm glad she found out. The one thing that I am disappointed in is Sadie is so attached. So he has got to, he's going to find out that he's not a good guy. I don't know if that means that Annie is going to tell Sadie that Noah is the FBI, but I feel like Sadie is too attached to Noah. He is getting attached to Noah because he's a nice guy and he seems genuine, but I don't know what's going to happen. I think maybe Annie will have to tell him. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Should Amy tell Sadie that Noah is the FBI? Should Annie just stop Sadie from talking to him, cut off the communication? What do you think Annie should do in this situation? It's a tough one. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. All right. And this brings me into my question, my game for you. And that is a game called Whose Body is in Beth's Backyard? I thought it was Boomer's, but in Annie fashion, she probably stole the wrong body. If I had to guess, that's a total Annie move. So let me know whose body that you think is in the backyard, because the hair on that body was long and black. Boomer, it doesn't matter what color hair he had short hair. There's not any hair that's that long on Boomer. Ugh, so gross. Anyways, let me know who you think that is. My first thought was, please let it be Mary Pat. I mean, how awesome would that be? Mary Pat's been gone for like the last 6 episodes. So if she turned up dead in Beth's backyard, hey, I'm all for it. But I think we saw in predictions that's not going to be right. So I don't know whose body that could be. I'm just going through my brain trying to figure out who we've seen in the last, I guess few episodes, even last season maybe. Could it be the cat lady who was knitting a scarf for Kevin? I don't know, but I was really hoping it would be Mary Pat. In the chat, we think that Samantha says, I think it is Jeff, Mary Pat's first husband. Okay, that could be something. Could Mary Pat be a serial killer? Is she just killing all of her husbands? Like maybe that's what you get when you marry Mary Pat. You get a death sentence. Okay, Vic said Turner left her alone. Sarah does not think that it's Jeff. Danielle says, oh my gosh, not Boomer. Sarah says not Boomer. So we know it's not Boomer, but who could it be? Who are we left with? Maybe it's somebody from Rio's gang that was a rotten egg and he had to kill him off. He's killed a lot of people, I'm sure. So maybe it's that. Let me know if you have any ideas. I'm so curious about this dead body. All right, so guys, that covers the last 2 episodes. Let me know if you have any other overall thoughts on these episodes. We saw a lot of changes, but now we're going to move into our news segment.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so we have some news. Season 2 of Good Girls is launching on Netflix internationally on May 31st. So here at the end of the month, it's going to be on Netflix, which is super exciting. You can just binge through that. You can binge through seasons 1 and 2 and just have that on repeat forevermore. That's what I'm going to do. Next, Reno Wilson. We talked about him on the last show. He is starring in a new movie called Bolden, and that is currently in theaters, so go watch it. And if you want to know what it's about, take a guess. It's about jazz singer Louis Armstrong. We talked about this last week. He just had a podcast come out about the jazz singer Louis Armstrong, and now he's starring in a movie. So I'm sensing a theme. Yes, I know, that was fun. Next, Mae Whitman is starring in a new TV show called Invincible. It also has a star-studded cast with J.K. Simmons, Sandra Oh, Seth Rogen, and many more. There's not a release date yet, but we will keep you posted on when that show is coming out. So a lot of our cast is getting involved and doing other shows that are coming out, so we can go watch that when we're sad about Good Girls being off the air. Okay. Next, I'm going to do a few shout outs. So again, thank you guys so much for commenting. Keep commenting, and I will shout you out on one of our shows. So I'm going to get started with Micah Dawn, who says, this was about episode 9. Keep that in mind. Micah says, definitely do not want to see Turner's superiors putting pressure on him. That's a waste of storyline. I would like to know why it's so personal to Turner to bring down Beth, unless he thinks Beth is the weakest link and he can get to Rio through Beth. I am hoping Noah falls for Annie and brings Turner down for being a dirty agent, or at least leave an egg on his face. I like that, and I am in favor of that. Haley Moore, thank you for commenting. Haley says, I completely agree. Things have been awkward between them since the other girl, talking about Beth and Rio. I think part of Beth's nervousness is also from the fact she's been with only Dean forever and hasn't had sex since her youngest was born. It's my opinion that Rio doesn't just kiss and jump into bed with anyone, especially after his comment about being lonely at the top, and he is so guarded all the time. He knows she doesn't just give herself out to anyone too, after how awkward she was when he suggested that's what she should tell the FBI agent. Just my thoughts. Well, thank you, Haley, and yes, I agree, it has been awkward, but, you know, she doesn't give herself to anyone, just Dean and Rio. And we noticed that she said in this episode she likes Rio much better. All right, Bunny Bop Boo. Thank you for commenting. Bunny Boop says, did anyone else see how sad Rio looked after Beth said it was over? Puppy dog eyes. She hit it and broke his heart. He thought this was the beginning of something. Also, the reason Annie wants to tell Noah is because she has no one. The other two have their husbands to talk to. So true. Ruby has her husband. Beth has Dean, sort of. So they have other people they can talk to. Annie doesn't. She can't talk to Sadie about this. So I see where you're coming from. She only has Noah to talk to. Bunny Bop Boo also left a prediction that Sarah is going to comfort her parents. She knows something is up with her hospital bills and her health. She is connecting the dots from the previous season. You see her thinking in the scene. And when the raid happens, they aren't going to find anything since Beth quit at the right time. Well, this is a good point that the bills from medical, I think that's probably been paid off with all the counterfeit money that's been washed. But they do have money issues constantly. So Sarah might be catching on to that. She's always has this really smart thinking look to her. So she's going to be connecting the dots on something, I think, sooner than later. So we'll find out what that is. Bunny Bop Boo also said no judgment, but you may want to try referring to Sadie as he, him, since he indicated that in the previous episode. Thank you so much for shouting that out. I think I said that a couple of times, the pronouns incorrectly. So Sadie is being referred to as a he and him. So thank you for pointing that out. I really appreciate it. Next we have Serena is the name. Thank you for the comment. Wants to say another thing. Who just lets a dude you met like a week ago stay at your apartment with your kid alone? Annie is being entirely too trusting of this dude. Right? Oh my gosh, who lets a guy stay at your house with your kid? I don't know. It's not a great judgment call, but it is Annie. There you go. So thank you guys for your comments. Keep commenting on this video and we'll shout you out on next week's episode. All right, guys, the next thing we're going to do our baddest good girl. If you have your favorite baddest good girl from this episode, go ahead and drop it in the chat now. And then after that, we're going to be doing predictions. So you can think about those, drop that in the chat, and we'll talk about it. I am going to go ahead and say that my baddest good girl, this was a tough one for me. I have to say, it always is. But for me, I think that Beth, might be my baddest good girl, and that's because in episode 10 we saw that Ruby and Annie tried to do this whole business by themselves and they couldn't do it. They failed a little bit, I would say. So I think that in itself proves that she has to be there running things in order for this to work, which makes her the boss. Also, the other reason that I would choose Beth is because she made so many cookies. Like, she thought through her cookie theme. She did boxes, piles of these cookies, and then nobody ate them, and she had to take them home and throw them in the garbage disposal, and that crushed my heart. I was like, no, she did so much work, so much effort just to be thrown away. And I think that she deserves the baddest good girl for that, for those two reasons. Let me know who you think the baddest good girl is. We have Beth, definitely Beth. Samantha also says Beth for what she said to Dean in episode 11 about Rio. She dropped the ball on that, dropped a little bomb, a Rio bomb, if you will, on Dean. So we're giving it to Beth. We have a couple for Ruby and just more for Beth. So I think that is conclusive that we're giving it to Beth for our baddest good girl. Okay, guys, let's just jump right into our last segment, and that is predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ooh, okay. So in the promo, we saw some really juicy things. Number one, we saw Beth talking to Rio, and she says, "The feds know everything." Number two, Dean is holding Beth while she's crying. Gross. Okay, backtracking, 1 step forward, 10 steps back. And number three, Mary Pat is back, and Annie tackles her. Yes! She's already going to be my baddest good girl for next episode for tackling Mary Beth. I cannot wait to see that over and over again. Oh my gosh. So those are our 3 nuggets that we were given in the promos. I am super stoked to see where this is going. I cannot believe that we're finally seeing Mary Pat. It's been way too long. We keep bringing her up and talking about her because why isn't Agent Turner talking to Mary Pat? Like, why has that not happened in the last 6 episodes, you know? So those are our 3 nuggets. You know, I'm just rambling on about this. It just really irks me. So let me know what your predictions are for the next episode. And I'm going to start off and say that, well, I think that the girls will use Noah to turn on the FBI and to get the power back for them. So I'm really excited to see what happens with that storyline. And I think that the girls will take power over the FBI. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. As far as anything else goes, the body is a huge prediction. I don't know whose body that is. And I can't wait, you know, a whole week to find out. So someone come up with answers. I don't know who it's going to be, but hopefully we find out next week. And maybe we'll find out how many more people have, been murdered. And maybe that will take the blame off of Beth and the girls. That would be awesome. All right. We have in the chat that Vic says, I think Rio will find something to help her again. It's about time she goes into his car. Interesting. Into his car to do what? Next, Sarah says, Mary Pat left the kids in the car. Like, nah, I'm out of here. That was hilarious. I'm so ready to see that scene. Maybe a GIF. Maybe just watch it over and over again on repeat. Can't wait for that. Samantha says, my prediction is that Noah uses more of what Annie told him somehow. Mary Pat is connected to the body somehow. And I am really glad to that point about Noah that he didn't have a wire on him, which I don't think that was very smart, because he could have been using what Annie said this whole time, but he didn't have a wire on him. And maybe that shows that he is going to fall in love with her, or he really does like her. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. So those are our predictions. Let's see what happens next week. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching this show. We really love you guys. We really love your input, and we love that you love Good Girls. So until then, you can follow me on Instagram mainly, or on Twitter at Kelsey Hightower. And until next week, I'll see you later. Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.